Hello. It's been a while. I'm sorry I've been gone. I've been going through burnout the moment I finished the school semester. Yay! It's been great! God, I really want to work. I'm so tired of doing nothing. Help me. So, that being said, I've collected a whole pile of work in progresses that I haven't found much energy in finishing. I still plan to, but at the moment, I'm very much in a state of doing whatever I'm currently in the mood for. And my current mood that lasted more than a couple of minutes is JoJo. Specifically, Blade Runner JoJo redraw studies. I ended up doing two different pieces. So the speed paints are going to be divided into two parts. First one being Dio and the second one of Josuke. I hope I finish Josuke. That would suck if my burnout hit me after I announced this. I wanted to try my hand at making commentary of my progress, especially considering that this is a study and going over my decisions might be insightful. Maybe. We'll see. Last time I tried doing this, I kept fucking up on trying to match the speed and the timing. Okay. So, story time. Kinda. Does this count as story? I don't know. Alright, so during my last semester, my psychology class was given an assignment to write about a topic that personally interests us and how it relates to psychology. She gave us full freedom in picking literally anything, including TV show characters. And so my excited ass immediately thought of JoJo. Specifically, Dio. The essay itself was a psychoanalysis of megalomania and how Dio eludes this sort of behavior and traits all throughout JoJo. Typically, I don't like school, but you gotta make do with what you're given in terms of assignments. And honestly, my biggest highlight was just bringing up the fact that I wrote an essay on Dio and was required to leave a little photo reference of the character. So, you can bet your sweet ass that I pulled a Kanodiona at the end of the paper. But that's neither here nor there. During my research, I was looking up further analysis on Dio's character, such as character inspirations. I came across an article on Anime News Network that wrote about an interview Araki-sensei had from a spring 2018 issue of Shueisha Kotoba magazine, a Blade Runner 2019-2049 feature where he talks about the movie Blade Runner, among many other films that have impacted his work. More specifically, noting that the character Roy Batty has influenced Dio. I saw somewhere else where Rachel's pompadour had influenced Josuke's hairstyle as well, but whether that's a legit claim or just a fan comparison, I have no idea. It was brought up in the spin-off manga, so it was somewhat acknowledged? Question mark? But anyway, just from this little tidbit, I thought it'd be really cool to do a movie scene study and make it an excuse just to redraw JoJo. I never actually did art of Dio before, so I had a bit of a struggle trying to draw him, though honestly half of me really hated how his face was so ingrained in my memory that just looking at the separate layer preview of the face, I could already think, wow, this is Dio. However, it was not good enough. I had to redraw his face multiple times. If I draw him enough times, I'll probably get a better feel for how I'd stylize him. But for now, this is like the first iteration of him. Alright, so jumping into coloring, I struggled to figure out how to tackle the lighting. Obviously, transferring realism to anime, I need to simplify down levels of detail from the HD pores you see on Roy's face against the specific lighting and the rain that's in the scene. I think I just approached it too literally to detail at first, and that just didn't sit well with me, but I still really wanted to capture as much of the lighting as I could. A lot of the time with normal art, I lean heavily on color correction and overlays. However, with studies, I try my best to replicate the original colors while amplifying it once I start to do stylizing touch-ups. I can see how red Roy's skin is in the scene, but it's finding the specific shade of his shadows that are against the cool tones in the environment that I found difficulty in. One of the easier tones that I could pick out was the light blue lighting that was hitting his face, followed by the darkening eye bags and the eyeshadow shadows and the contour of his face and jawline. Next to that, which was a little bit more challenging, was the minimal highlights that also hit his face. The scene is just heavy on blue lighting, so I had to be mindful of how much of it reflected and bounced off the surface of his skin. In addition, I was gathering even more references of portraits of like long hair in the rain to get an idea of how Dio's hair might look like in the scene, as Roy's isn't as long and luxurious in comparison. With these rain portraits, I would notice and add messy little strands of hair that stuck out and would note how the backlight would light it up, in addition to how much darker blonde looks like in the rain. You know, even though I didn't really go all the way dark, but that's just on my creative end. I did notice some additional areas that were lit up on Roy's face that I thought they'd make for some nice little details to add while cleaning up, such as his cupid's bow, his inner eye, the saturated highlight on his jawline. His entire left side of his face was actually pretty hard to grasp, though, not gonna lie. You can see the white shine on the bridge of his nose and a bit more of it going further down. You can just see the subtle brighter tones of his skin on the side, followed by the shadows that go over his cheek, and then another highlight just on his cheekbone. Realizing now I could have put lighter red tones around the side of his face to show how the surface curves, but I guess this is a regret I'm gonna have to keep note of for the next study. I tried to approach, the highlights using a textured brush to mimic the pores and the water effect, and I did touch-ups revolving around matching the values of the original piece, brightening up the face and putting more saturation, just enough to like match the tones. Honestly, the background has probably got to be the easiest thing in this piece for me, cleaning up and adding the final details, such as adding the blood that I may or may not have forgotten until the very end, and the additional saturated luminescent lighting that was probably my favorite little touch-up, personally. The total amount of time I took to do the study redraw was, I think, around 4 hours. So it doesn't leave too long for me to rack my head around rendering it all perfect, neat, and clean. But rather, it was for me to learn more and understand like color and lighting in the specific scene overall. This piece was like really fun to do in the end, and probably when I do enough of these, I might want to start really heavy stylizing it, with different texture brushes and with like different types of colors to really, really challenge my full understanding of like values, which I've done before. I'm pretty surprised I got the values down packed while changing up the palette. Yeah. I don't really know how to end a video. I'm just gonna drop it here. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions or suggestions of scenes I can approach, or like how I would probably tackle something, I don't know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Yeah. Thanks for watching.